Hi, I'm Xysis, and this is Hearts of Iron 4, No Step Back, where we're playing as the Soviet Union. Here we are, right at the start of the Winter War. We're just about to finish this focus here, and we will be off. I actually think we are off a little bit on the timing. In my notes we're supposed to finish on the 10th of January, but this is going to be another 35 days. So it seems one of the focuses has to have been a 70-day focus, but I've written it down as a 35-day focus. We will make that up in a little bit, so it's no problem. Alright, so we got a few days here to check that we are in position for the war here. So we've got some of our light tank divisions, and these should be mostly, yeah, they've got the BT-7As, and they probably all have the mostly BT-7As. They are missing a bit of anti-air and a bit of artillery, and they're not fully supplied. We can probably help out with the supplies by using a bit of our truck stockpile. We got plenty of trucks. And let's give the entire northern front full motorization priority. Now, historically, the Soviet Union did not do very well in the Finnish Winter War, but in HOI4 it's quite hard not to do well. We'll see how well we managed to supply our troops here. The supply hub is all the way back here, and because this is really bad infrastructure, you can see even if we put it up to high motorization, it should just about reach these provinces on high motorization. But as soon as you start advancing, you're completely out of supply. And look at Finland, there are no supply hubs until you get up here. So you can usually manage to push into Petsamo here, and there's not a lot more you can do here. We're gonna try to conquer Sala. That's one of the provinces we need for the White Peace event to fire, and we want Karjala. And I think we need to push a bit further in for the event to actually fire in the game. We'll unpause anyway, so we actually get somewhere. Alright, so we're working a bit there on getting that up and running. Now we need loads of these tanks, and 2 per day is not gonna cut it. We're gonna be up to 3 per day, at least once the cap is up there. Alright, so we unlocked the improved heavy tank chassis. This means it is KV1 time, isn't it? Let's select something more to research here first. And I could go for these infantry equipment things, but it's really not a big rush for these either. We're gonna be losing so much equipment anyway at the start of the war. But our armor trains, I really like railway guns, but we'll hold off a little bit on those. Radar would be nice to have from a game point perspective. Probably don't need to go down fuel refining just yet. We're gonna have to use some excavation techs too. Are we up to date here? Probably about time we got the Tupolev 2 actually. Now the Tu-2 was one of the Soviet Air Forces, or the Red Air Force, most used bombers. It was just designed as a fast dive bomber actually, which is quite funny for being a tactical bomber, but it makes sense since the Sturmovik is a lot more famous in the ground support role than the Tupolev 2 was. Tupolev actually designed this aircraft while he was in prison, and following the success of the aircraft, he and the design team were released from prison. Let's pick these up. We do want to get them into service since we'll be using a lot of tactical bombers. Tactical bombers make sense from a strategic perspective, as the Soviet Union too, as the air zones are really big. And the tactical bombers do have the range to actually cover most of them, while the CAS will only cover like a small one. And while we have plenty of air bases in the west, out in the east we don't have very many air bases of any decent size. And the fighters of course need to be based close to the front lines wherever they are. All our big airports are in the west. Alright, so let's get on the KV-1 and then we'll sort out our rubber issues there. It looks like the game already fixed this one for us. No, but we did have the... we named it the T-35 when we put the upgrade thing on. So we got an upgraded variant of the T-35, which it correctly then calls the KV-1 on the improved heavy tank chassis, instead of this one that you get from the... no, we can't even rename this one. Instead of this one that you get from the deal with the Germans on the basic chassis. This would probably be a SMK or something, if you were to put something into more the time frame that you actually get it. The KB1 was designed about this period in time. No, we're not going to do that. Let's press that so we get that to stop shining. We'll just go in and revise this design a bit because it's not really up to spec. Now the KV-1 was quite an interesting tank. It had quite a lot in common with the T-34. On the upper sections it used the same 76mm gun, and it had a 2-man crew in the turret. This one is a 3-man turret, so we'll still use the heavy turret because the turret in the KV-1 was a lot roomier than the 2-man turret of the T-34, so we'll use the heavy 2-man turret here. We really only want to go down because the max speed reduction on the 3-man turret, and we need to keep speed up while trying to get as much armor out of it as possible. It did have sloped armor, so we'll tack some of that on. The KB-1 was actually one of the first tanks in the world to use the torsion bar system. It's a little bit unsure if the Germans or the Soviets invented or started using the torsion bar system in their tanks first. They came out about the same time with the torsion bar tanks, that is the Tiger tank and the KB-1. And we'll use welded armor, and it had a 600 horsepower diesel engine running it. We do need to up the engine to its absolute maximum here, and we still don't quite reach 8 kilometers per hour. So we need to take the armor down a couple of notches there so we meet the speed that we need them to run in game. And the KV-1 had a 4-man crew, and they had a gunner, and then the loader was also the commander, and then they had a hull gunner for the hull machine gun and a driver. We'll pop on a hull machine gun there just to so that we actually have that one in. I think they had some kind of other machine gun up on top there too. They had a coaxial of course too. But we want to make a little bit of use of this excess reliability we have, and we do want to, we're not going to use any wet ammo storage, so we want to add some extra ammunition storage to increase the breakthrough. That'll bring us down a little bit more. Now this is a very expensive tank, and that's just how it's gonna be. And we do get more armor out of it than from the medium tank, so even just having 1 battalion of heavy tanks will up the armor quite a bit on the division. Would like to get a little bit more breakthrough out of it. We're only getting 7 more breakthrough than from this one. And if we were to put on a radio set, that would add another, looks like about 5.5. We can probably go with a little bit of excess ammunition here to bring reliability down to 88, which is fine. It would be nice to have a little bit more on a tank that is this expensive. And that will give us 2 more breakthrough and a bit of extra defense. Defense, of course, isn't that useful on a heavy tank. And I think the first one, KV-1s, were fielded in March of 1940, something like that. So that's fairly much on time for us to start producing them and see if we can get them into a field unit. They were used in the Finnish Winter War, after all. Let's save this one, and we will put them into production. We'll keep them quite high up. We'll put them above the medium tanks for now. And we need 320 of them. And if we look at now we can go in here and look. They've got about a little bit less than double the production cost of the T-34s. Let's actually just turn the ships off there for now. And we need to start really mass producing the yaks there too. And those, but we'll put 5 factories in there for now. I think we're gonna need to increase this as well. And we need some rubber. Let's see who wants to sell us some rubber. We obviously don't want the German rubber. And see, in Expert AI they start producing a lot more rubber. So they're already up to 21 in exports. And that's without capturing too much. You can see they've got a bunch of rubber. I should probably, it might be on free trade still, since we can get so much out of them. We will grab this from British Malaya. Doesn't require any convoys. We won't take 2. We will suffice with 1 factory's worth. Let's check the intel here. We can unpause again. See if we can't see. And they produce 43 rubber. That is not too shabby. And of course they need the fuel to keep everything running as well. Alright, so Denmark has capitulated. And that means Iceland goes free. And all these... no, we've got a few still here. It's probably we're probably in deep snow here now. Yeah. Deep snow really reduces the amount of supply that gets through. Fighting in deep snow in the winter is hopeless. Alright, so we got our engineer companies. This gives us the Flamethrower. That means we can design a Flamethrower tank. Also gives us the dozer blades. I actually have a hard time justifying this cost for 1 entrenchment, but you can stack loads of entrenchment if you put it on a lot of different, or if you make a lot of tanks with it. You put them into whatever you want entrenchment into. Unlocks the light and medium flame tank companies. Now from a game perspective, the medium flame tanks are probably the best of the lot there. They actually turned out to become quite good in the latest balancing they did. And it's a little bit ahead of time to research the next engine upgrade, which would be needed if we want to increase the armor or armament of the KV-1s more without reducing the armor. Armor would be... these armor skirts are quite nice too, actually. We will probably... Anti-air is probably more important for us to upgrade rather than artillery. And I think we still got a hefty deficit of both of them. But we should be building a lot more now. Yeah, we're reaching a good production efficiency. What do we have for 150 days to produce 2,500 artillery pieces? And 300 days for the 2,000 anti-air pieces. We're also very low on support equipment. That's another year of support equipment manufacturing. And this is way too early to check the heavy tanks. Medium tanks, that's gonna half down too by the time the production efficiency has risen on them. That went really quick to fill out the KV1 there. Wonder where if they took them off. No, we still got 3 down there. Did we really finish that many factories? Oh yeah, we're building loads of them. We can probably add another line of civilian factories somewhere. If I wanted to have more of them in one state. Don't want to build them in these 40 states, that seems like a waste. And what do we have now? We're up to 126 civilian factories. Or we might want to build some infrastructure in, like here in Kirov, where we got 6 slots. Don't think we got, yeah, we've even got 8 here in Altai Krai. Let's press Control so we get it up to the top, and get the factories up. I probably want to put these factories just a little bit further down there, and they can migrate up as these things are finished. That should be fine. We might want to build a few more airports, but we can do that when we start needing them. Let's unpause there again. I've got a steel mill there. It's not really the one we need. We think we're gonna just pop these in. That's excavation 2, and excavation 4. Leningrad and Kamesk is in the east. So that should be fine. That's 24 aluminium. I think we're gonna do those. Alright, so we finished secure Leningrad. And alright, so yeah, over here we want to start going down. We want to start finishing off this tree soon, because we want to have access to desperate measures, of course, and having gotten through a few of these. But we're gonna start with the People's Commissariat of Mechanical Engineering, which once again increases our efficiency cap by 5%. Also gives us some truck and infantry weapon research boosts and a military factory. And the research boosts would probably be efficient if we manage to get this one started before, so we can use the research boost on the longer tech here. Because we're not going to be using it on any of the trucks. I prefer to have a research boost for these two, so you can get them a little bit ahead of time. But if we get that one started, we can have it. We can probably use them on both of these. All of these are percentage bonuses, so as long as we're using these, we've got 3 breakthrough and 6 soft attack, so increasing the defense here by 5% is not a lot, and our defense of 5% is about 1, and the breakthrough is about non-existent. It's 0.15 or something. And the same thing with these attack ones. It's 5% soft attack. It's 5% on 6, which isn't a whole lot. Well, keep running there. We should have an event firing here. From the... yeah, they get the Soviets demand Karelia decision. I've been playing a lot of Finland the last few days. And they get the event and then they need to answer it, and we don't get to hear anything until they have answered it, of course. But we are ready. Yeah, these are down in Vladivostok and on the borders here. These could probably be converted as well into better ones. Decisions. What decision do we have? Recruit in Iceland, of course. It's a new country down there. We need to press this one again. And how are we doing for doctrines? Because I think we are about finished with most of our template designs. We want to get in Zhukov here before we do any doctrine work. And we're not going to do professional armor officer course, but we can do that. Because if we were to go down the focus tree here, you don't get rid of the, I think it's down here we can get rid of some of the land doctrine cost. Let's see if we go down the political advisors here. This one might, no, it's only this one. So that's quite a bit, that's at least 1 year after Barbarossa, since this one requires us to be at war with the major. And then this one requires this one to have been done a year earlier. So this one is quite a long time down, and it also requires military reorganization here, so it's quite a few down that way. And we don't get very many research boosts for land doctrine anywhere down here either. So we need to hard earn that experience, while we have the debuff to getting less experience. So Zhukov we want before we start using up that experience there. I was gonna check the division designs here. Probably want to, yeah, we converted our divisions over into this, of course. And then we got one with light tanks and one with heavy tanks for the moment. Yeah, we wanted to design a flamethrower tank as well. Okay, so the war in the west has begun. Germany usually starts with taking out Luxembourg, and then they go after the Netherlands and Belgium. Alright, so here we go. Finland has rejected our demands. The Finnish government has rejected our demands, but this was to be expected. If we want Karelia, we will have to take it by force. It is time to teach the stubborn Finns a lesson they won't forget, to regain our war goal against Finland. But first, before we forget there, let's pop up into here and we will design a flame tank. Now for flame tanks, the Soviets used both a variant of the BT-7 and the T-34 as flame tanks. I think we will go with the BT-7 because we've got a huge stockpile of them, and we probably don't need to have that many later on either. So he has 2 factories on anti-tank have given us 2,000 stockpile. That's nice. Because we got that ludicrous efficiency cap. So let's get the BT-7. And the flame tank's designation was OT. That was the OT-7. This also means that we can have them with our motorized divisions. So we can have quite quick ones. So we will swap out for a flamethrower. This kind of makes it doesn't have any piercing left, doesn't have any hard attack left, and soft attack goes right down the drain. Now, normally, from what I understand, the flamethrower was hull mounted, so you had it in place of a hull mounted machine gun. But the BT-7 didn't have a hull mounted machine gun. The driver's right behind this slope. That's the driver's windows you can see there, and he's kind of sitting right behind here. And then you've got 2 people up in the turret, and that's its 3-man crew. So I believe on the OT-7 the turret was actually replaced for a flame turret. And that is what we will be using. We will let the equipment tag stick on there. That way it will be used in the motorized divisions as well. But can obviously be used in anyone that has that one too. Now we do need to switch this one over to oh. Okay, maybe if we move it a bit to the side. Yeah, there we go. And by selecting it as a flame tank, of course it uses a lot less tanks as well. I think it's about 60% or 40% of the tanks that a battalion has, the support company has. But the penalty for this, especially the one to armor and breakthrough, are quite poor. It turns out that this isn't a very good tank, but the support company has some very good bonuses. Don't really need this much speed. I could maybe knock it down one notch, since we get the designer on there as well. It does have a very good reliability, so we won't be losing a lot of these tanks. We could probably downgrade the armor there as well, but I don't really see the point of it. We'll spend the 2 experience on this. Let's select a different icon for it. Thinking one of these stubby looking ones. Yeah, well, we'll take the one with the I think this is more of a... Where did we have it there? This is probably more of a close support gun. But it'll make do for a flame tank. Would be nice if these selected automatically depending on the main armament and the turret you've selected. And the role, designated role. Especially these two. And the suspension. The suspension could change the bottom part, and the turret could change the turret part, and the gun could change the barrel. But that's just wishful thinking. This is what we get. We get to choose something now. And let's save this one. Don't think we want to have the auto upgrade in there. We probably don't really need it for... We've got the auto upgrade selected there too. I don't think we need that for these tanks. Replacing I don't know, if we select something else, it costs 1 experience to replace a gun later on. Let's reset that one because we want to save it that way. And don't think we've got it in on the BT7 either. And I think the BT7s actually did have a small radio set, but most of the Soviet tanks did not have. They were using flags and hand signals to get around with or to talk to each other. And I think we will just pull... Actually, let's take that one up to the top. And we will pull 1 factory from the BT7s. Can probably pull 2 actually, we got so many of these. But we'll pull 1 into the flame tanks, and we will put them... Let's grab all our tanks into the same area. We can probably pull the 2nd factory from there as well. We'll put it into the T-34 instead. It's more important that we get loads of these tanks. I probably want to... Let's put 2 more factories into support equipment as well, I think. We don't have a lot of these yet. Oh, they're really expensive. But they are cool, so we'll go with the rule of cool here for this, but I do think we need to bump in a few more factories. Can we upgrade these? Is the big question. No. Would be nice to have the upgrade options on these as well. Like we have with only armored cars and mechanized, I guess. Alright, so we got a war goal there. And get rid of that blinking first. And we are already about 4 months late for this war, so we will declare it immediately. And the Finns do not have a lot on their border. We will, and if we check where we want to go, they got a supply hub here in Vilpuri, they got a supply hub here, so those are our 2 main targets for the southern front. Up on the northern front here there is only this supply hub here, which is easy to get through from the south, so that's our secondary objectives. And then we've got Petsamo up here, which we can also try to conquer. And we got our submarines up here on... Let's put them on convoy raiding instead, I think, in the Barents Sea. And the same thing here. I think that will be good. The Baltic fleet, don't think we want to be exercising right now. But we will put the fleet on strike force. Now down here in the Black Sea we don't really have to bother too much. These are... yeah, let's put that submarine into that task force. And this one goes into the Baltic fleet, Chapayev. So we got our first light cruiser out of the line, or out of the dockyards. Okay, so we will punch through there and we will probably cut down to Vilpuri. Got distracted by the sound of the train. And we want to use our infantry to pin up there too, and we will use one of these garrison divisions to just help open up the front. It will increase the combat width of that tile. And now the Finnish troops, they are, looks to be... These are... I've probably got two different templates here too. So this is, they've got engineers and it's going to be 3 infantry battalions. And this one's going to be the same. Probably got them all along the border here. They usually have some stronger divisions. Here they've got the... This is going to be 6 infantry battalions, but they don't have engineers on this one. Yeah, so their divisions here on the... this is probably one of their better ones. This is going to be 6 or 9. 6 infantry and engineers probably. That is quite a lot more than our brigade-sized formations. We will go in there and probably, at least with one there, we can support attack with the other one. Don't think we... what do we have opposing us here? That's a big formation. That's a big formation, and this one is probably a big formation as well. We're gonna be 6 battalions. And here we had smaller ones, I think, yeah. So we're probably better off trying to advance a little bit on this vector here. And those two are safe to move up. If we win this tile, these ones will not border Finland anymore, and we can support attack with this one. So we'll let it tick pause and we can get the supporting moves in. That's looking good down there. And we will pop up here again and support attack with the second one there. And they're entrenched, so they've got loads of defense, of course. And we don't have very much attack. But we do have our support artillery, and most of these should have been stocked up on support artillery. So we do have a decent amount of firepower, at least in our divisions. We might want to bring some air power to bear as well. Let's put the navs out to sea. That's enough with flying during the daytime. We don't want to lose them during the night. Don't need the strategic bombers. And I wonder why this one hasn't... Have we just... Maybe we're... Oh yeah, we're not producing any tactical bombers. We are still researching the 2-2s. I want to set up some more fighter wings though. Yeah, could probably have done this prior to the war. This is the way we did it this time. So we got 100 more there, and we can put... I don't think we've got any air bases up here in northern Scandinavia. But we do have one here in Olonets. Let's put up 100 fighters there as well. And it can be in the northern front, which is, you can see the huge air zones and how little coverage you actually get from these. So we put them to air superiority. It makes the most sense for this war. Since the Finns shouldn't have enough. Where did we put them? Oh, we put them both down here. Well, that's not what I intended to do. I wanted to have them here in Leningrad. We'll move the other fighters up. We'll move those in air superiority. Fly them daytime only. I think these are ready since the Spanish Civil War set to daytime only. We do want to move our tactical bombers up a bit. We got our 2 wings, so let's move them up to Leningrad and move them up to... We got only DB3s, yes. And no, we do have an airbase up here. I completely missed it. So let's put up a wing of... oh, that was the A fighters. Yeah, and we can get it out here with M fighters. And we will daytime only air superiority. And this should also recall everything we have in China. Let's see where they end up. They should come up down here somewhere. Since we are now at war, we're not allowed to have volunteers. We are allowed to do some of these things. Don't really want to do any of these. Improved working conditions would be nice to get the stability up a little bit more, but we'll hold on to that. We have the -30 stability in effect here from being at war. Let's see, we could use this one actually. That's quite a good one. And it doesn't look like it gets cancelled if the war is over either. And having some 5% extra output is nice for 15 political power. So we will delay Zhukov by 15 political power. That is fine. We can slow the speed down here. Alright, so Italy joined Germany, and the war in Europe is going on. Luxembourg is still holding out though. Now sometimes this happens that France is able to reinforce Luxembourg before Germany takes it. So Finland rejects the Soviet demands. Soviet diplomats have presented an ultimatum to the government of Finland, demanding border adjustments in the region of Karelia. Despite the significant buildup of Soviet forces on the border, Helsinki has rejected these demands, stating that not a single foot of Finnish soil will be willingly given to the Russian aggressors. International observers fear that a Soviet invasion may be imminent. They should not have rejected our demands. And Germany goes on Belgium, and Belgium joins the Allies. They usually try to capitulate one before they go on to the next one, like they did with Denmark. Historically they went into all 3 countries at the same time, of course. Okay, so we have made it into the first one. Why are these moving so slowly? Oh, because we're in the middle of winter and we've got deep snow. So this is... let's back out a little bit. This is a little bit of a fun thing that can happen when our infantry division isn't as hampered by deep snow. So they actually made it into there first, whilst our motorized units that are supposed to be able to move at 12 kilometers per hour, they get so slowed down because it's a forest here. That's half their speed, and these are multiplicative. So the first one reduces it by 42%, and then that number is reduced by 25%, and then the infrastructure reduces it by an additional 5%. So all of a sudden they are quite slow. At least these units, they don't have enough artillery for them either. That's the motorized artillery units, but they will arrive there and keep on pushing. But then we're pushing into a fort zone, They are, however, attacking us, so they are draining their organization. And these should arrive there in 16 hours, help defend, and then hopefully move on to Vilpuri. We have not taken this tile, nor Petsamo up here. It's whatever happens up there doesn't really matter. We can have a look down here. Now our tank or motorized divisions actually ended up there. Could do some war propaganda. War propaganda at the moment is pretty useless unless you are below 50. We're not at war with anyone that can help us up to total mobilization. Nor do we really need to be on total mobilization either. Alright. So now it's just a straight rhyme into Viipuri. We're not getting a lot of experience out of this. Now a lot of people like to really grind the Winter War for general traits and for experience. I haven't put any generals that I want to grind here. The closest one would probably be having Dmitry Lelushenko here. And he was actually on this front commanding the Leningrad front of the war. And I don't think Enrik Lister was the one in charge either. It was someone else that was in charge of operations. I think it was Voroshilov actually who was in charge of the operation. And of course there was a lot of changes going on there too. I probably want to start moving some troops up here soon as well. I think we just placed them around a bit for now. These are the ones that were on the borders of the Baltic states. And now infrastructure should have been mostly repaired down here, so it should be fine to start building up on the border. Okay, so we captured Petsamo here. And that does not give us control. We need, because it's not a victory point, this one, it has 4. We need to take 2 more of these. Or we could keep pushing in there probably. This one's going to be a lot easier for us to push out. Right, so there goes the Netherlands. Let's pause there and use these 3 to support. We'll actually support with this one too. We can attack this tile from 4 different directions, which is a very good advantage for us. Get a lot of artillery guns into the fight, since we do have 12 artillery guns with each of these brigades. Alright, so we took Viipuri. And we also want to take this supply hub up here. Oh, and we're attacking into plains here. And we will keep going up there. Now we've got deep snow the entire way up here. This is just the nature of fighting up in Scandinavia in the winter, especially during this time period where the winters were quite harsh. Nowadays we probably up in this area you get loads of snow too. Otherwise along the Baltic used to freeze over. At least from here and upwards. Now it's usually from somewhere like here it freezes over. Something has happened there that likes to keep it warmer. And that one will last for a bit more. Now these divisions do have more than enough armor for meeting up with regular ones. The regular piercing is about 5 for an infantry division that doesn't have anti-air or anti-tank, until you get up to like the 1941-42 techs. And we've got 12 in armor, and actually 30 piercing too, so yeah, these are pretty competent divisions or armored formations against enemies like Finland and like Iran will be later on. But we didn't have enough. These are the tanks we're going to move down there in a bit. We actually do have enough. Probably train up a few more of these since we have loads of tanks. Yeah, we do want to add the flame tanks as well. We don't need to do that yet though. We need to produce a few of them. Alrightio, we are dead out of manpower. That probably affects our ability to launch ships as well. And none of them are stuck just yet, but they will be shortly. So I think... yeah, we're on volunteer only, so we probably need to step it up to limited conscription. We might even have to go up to extensive, even though we're the Soviet Union for the German invasion. That usually costs a lot. We will spend our political power and bump the recruitable population up. So we can start actually getting people in to the armed forces. It's going to take a while before we capture this one. And now they're not entrenched anymore, of course. They got 4% entrenchment, or 4% from entrenchment. But they still got a decent amount of defense we need to overcome, and we don't have the... oh yeah, we're crossing a river here as well. And we can't really help out with these ones either, because it's a different tile. We could help out with some of these. Just pile in a few extras. I think we want to keep going here. And take this gap instead. We're moving forward a bit. Now we probably want to go all the way up to the supply hub there. Let's use one of these as well. Get up a bit in this direction. And then we push them out, and now it should be easy pushing them all the way back. They won't regain their organization before we get them. We can move with 3 of them that way. And now we want to pin him and have these two help keep them out there. This one we want to move up to the supply hub there. We are going up this direction, where we keep going up there. We got the supply hub here too. And the supply hub there is captured. And they moved back down there, it looks like. Oh yeah, there's a railroad here, so movement is a little bit closer. And I can probably move up our armored units this direction. We will reshuffle the front line there. We keep them all up here. Yeah. And yeah, we can go with one of them up in that direction. We could cut them. Which one is the easier division there to knock out? Okay, they're both the same. This tile does not neighbor this tile because there is a lake in between it. Getting up to that tile, we need to go through there. And we got... You can actually retreat back to there. And we want you to go up this way instead. And they are trying to get out of here. We will try to stop them. We will use 2 of the motorized divisions to get up through this gap here, and the 2 to try and get around that way. This division there should be sorted out. We will keep going there. Keep going up there. Follow that railway line. And let's head into towards Helsinki. They can follow up there. And then we want to try to push in a little bit here. This is a good tile to push in. We have supply on at least 2 of the divisions there. Can we move up there? Don't know if we're actually able to. Yeah, we should be able to knock them out there with a little bit of hope. We're trying to collect the army experience we can here, of course, while we're at it. And we'll see when the recruit in the Netherlands. We don't want to do that. Get rid of it. The Germans are steadily advancing on France. and didn't really invade until late spring, and they had already capitulated Norway by that point. Now, of course, in the game they usually capitulate France and then move towards Norway. Otherwise they would get bogged down trying to conquer Norway. It's a lot harder to conquer in the game than it is than they had in real life. There's a lot of mountains and slow moving terrain, and they did most of it by a surprise naval invasion, of course. Let's keep moving forward. And let's get our tanks moving up that direction. And let's keep moving up that way. And we can keep going up this direction. Should be fine. And another decision we will accomplish with a high yield. And this is the one that gives us minus in consumer goods. And now the price has doubled. It costs 30. So once you get in a bit up here, it's not really worth it to press it anymore. And this will delay Zhukov by yet another bit. But we should be fine. We don't need the doctrines just yet. We will click that button. This one is okay for what it is. And then you have the non-combat auto-supply penalties is the next one. And this one is quite nice to have. Max entrenchment plus 5, and that's 5 units to 10. That gives you 10% in defense. Or is it 15 even? Yeah. And that's the plan preparation bonus. The entrenchment is on the other side. 4% from having halfway entrenched. Yeah. An entrenchment is good if your divisions are standing still, but at the Soviet Union, unless you are making a hard stand either at this border or at the river line, the Dnieper, what did we call this one? Dvina. It doesn't really make that big of a difference. Let's pop up. We probably want to pop up and help out with that combat. And we are dead out of supply here, because we haven't hooked up this supply depot just yet. Which is, yeah, it usually takes 10 days from capture. The remaining days 8, but that's the railway connection. And I think it's a railway connection going up north from there. Okay, so we want to keep moving forward here. And we can probably pull that front line down a bit. And there goes the naval invasion alarm for whatever reason, or naval combat alarm. Don't think we have anyone in combat anywhere. No. And our aircraft have no problem. We actually didn't put these into this, the zones. We just moved them forward. Yeah, that's fine. And these are gonna be quite good. I've got loads of extra bonuses. And soon we're gonna be able to switch this one out and start doing the doctrines. Let's move forward instead. And here they have very low organization because they are out of supplies, so they can't really help out there very much. Seems like this attack fizzled out as well. We'll join in with them. And we actually didn't take this one. No, we want you to attack there. Let's try again. And they're in deep snow. They got some extra entrenchment speed. Okay, this is forest. Let's walk forward. Let's pin him there. Let's try again to catch him. Let's keep moving forward here. And was hoping we could make some kind of encirclement there, but it's just not possible with the deep snow everywhere. Should be melting off soon. And we probably don't want to use these tanks to go further north here. It should really be a supply hub here, I think, to help the Finns supply this front. And you've got the railway intersection. When I'm playing as Finland, I usually build one in this province here. It's a little bit better protected than here. You can kind of hold these tiles. And a port up here is nice to have, so you get good supply up in this region. This area is always going to be terrible. So we're losing a few trucks up here. But I think we will move the... Don't have very many on this front line, so we'll move that one down a bit and we will move this one up, so. And we will get our motorized divisions out and we might be able to make a run for Åbo or Vasa, Turku. Åbo is the Swedish name for Turku. It's we have the supply hub right around here, this province. So yeah, we'll go down towards Turku. We should be able to just pop through the forest there. No, did not. It looks like they are assigned, even if I can't see it. It's hidden behind here, behind the lake or something. And who do they have there? Got a crummy division over Helsinki here. Let's go in and grab the airbase. No, just the airbase. And these did... Oh, that's a lake. That's why we can't see it. And that means we have unassigned someone here. We have unassigned Popov's divisions. Let's pop them back down there. Just plug this gap there. Let's move them down there. Strategically redeploy. Put the front line up that way. And the Soviets obviously had a terrible time crossing the Mannerheim line down here. Alright, so we have the Finns are not towards capitulation. They are quite a bit away from it. I haven't taken Helsinki. We probably could have done it by now. Normally if you take Helsinki, Turku and Vasa, they will give in. Might have to walk and take a few tiles further north as well. We have taken our first province in Salla, and we have taken Karjala. And I think these two provinces, if you have started making advancements in them, they will offer concessions. The war with Finland has been a costly affair, but as we have been able to push back the Finnish army, they have presented us with a compelling offer. We are given control of strategically important areas, but need to withdraw our troops and cease further hostilities. This will end our offensive on Finland without full control over the region, but will in turn allow us to focus on extending our sphere of influence in other parts of the world. Our soldiers are needed elsewhere, and that means we get Karjala here, and we get Salla up here. And we lose our claim to Petsamo. So we can't make another quick war goal on them, of course. And we could continue fighting and capitulate Finland quite easily by now and annex all of their territory. But we are playing a historical game, and that political power is quite nice. And we will have a chance to have another go at them later on. So the Treaty of Moscow. The Soviet Union and Finland have signed a white peace. Wouldn't actually call it a white peace since we annexed big portions of their country. They are Russian-speaking parts of Finland, or where they actually even today teach Russian in schools. I'm not too sure about Salla, but in Karjala at least you can choose to learn Russian in school, instead of as in most of Finland where you learn Swedish. Alright, so we will have a pause there, and we now have loads of exiled divisions. We will need to reorganize this a little bit, but I think we will start off with that in the next episode. Alright, so that's going to be all for today. Thank you all for watching, take care, and see you next time.